Whether you're looking to upgrade the NVMe SSD in your laptop or computer, or simply want a means to copy or quickly connect and disconnect SSDs to your machine, Orico provide what could be the easiest solution yet, with the NVMe SSD Clone Duplicator. If you're after a simple, tool-free design, they don't get much simpler than this. The Orico NVMe Clone Duplicator looks to be a seriously handy piece of kit for those who regularly work with NVMe SSDs or those who simply want the easiest way possible to upgrade internal drives. With a metal overall construction, the unit itself feels solid in the hand, which makes sense considering it's one solid piece. No lids to remove and no parts to configure. When we consider an older hard disk dock, we're used to sliding in a drive, and it's pretty much the same principle here, with two bays at the top for sliding in an M.2 NVMe SSD with ease. No heatsinks or thermal pads required considering it's an open design. And talking of the design, it's rather straightforward too. Space for two NVMe SSDs at the top, with up to 2TB drives being compatible, so 4TB in total across both slots, along with a row of status LEDs and a single button just above used for the cloning function, which we'll take a look at shortly. Otherwise, across the top we have the unit's main power button, along with a power port for the included power adapter to be connected. Yes, it's not a completely bus-powered device, and it's recommended to use the adapter for consistent and reliable operation. Saying that, it's not a large power brick, so still rather portable. Finally, in between we have the single USB Type-C port, with both Type-C and Type-A cables being included within the package, to connect to the host device. Anyway, the way this works is quite simple. Connect to power, slide in either one or two compatible NVMe SSDs. I'm using Sabrent branded units here, but of course most brands are compatible. Note that they don't seem to sit flat, which aids heat dissipation, I guess. But nevertheless, we can proceed to connect to the host computer to access the drives. Users have some flexibility here, so we can connect a single SSD or two SSDs as in our example here, and we maintain full speed access to the drives, pretty much saturating the USB 3.1 Gen 2 interface, when using the Type-C cable that is. Yes, the drives themselves are capable of higher speeds, but this is pretty much the highest you'll achieve with the USB interface. Also bear in mind these drives do heat up under load, and that transfers to the enclosure too, so the unit does get rather warm with heavy usage. Nothing that caused me any issues throughout testing though, but a point to note regardless. Under particularly heavy use, I'd be inclined to point a fan at the thing. Of course, we can use this to not only expand available storage capacity, but also as a means for offline backup, and it works completely standalone too without the need to connect to a host computer. So we'll put it to the test here by transferring 25GB of data across to just the 500GB SSD that's currently inserted. Obviously, I've sped this up in the interest of saving time here, although note the 1TB drive is not currently inserted at all. With the data copied across, we eject the drive from the computer as normal. So with just power connected here, ensure the drive you wish to copy from is in the source bay, and the drive you wish to copy to is in the target bay. Bearing in mind the target drive will be wiped during the copy process, so back up any data on it beforehand if need be. We can then keep the clone button pressed for several seconds to start the clone process. So in this example, I'm copying the 25GB of data from the 500GB drive across to the 1TB target drive. LED status indicators flash to provide some feedback as to progress, although this can take a while depending upon the amount of data and the size of the drives of course, so sit back and let it do its thing. Once complete, all lights will remain lit to indicate copying is complete, so in this case we'll switch the unit off and remove the source 500GB drive, while connecting the target 1TB drive to a computer, where in disk management we can see a partition has been created the same size as our source drive, leaving the remainder of the drive as unallocated space. And if we move across to another window, we can see the original source drive name, and inside we have the original source data that we cloned across. So it's all worked perfectly well. And that's all there really is to this seemingly simple enclosure, a completely tool-free design with no covers or mounting screws to fumble about with, providing easy access to docking NVMe SSDs, as well as a good offline cloning feature, particularly useful as a means to back up or upgrade your drive to a larger capacity for instance. There are a few things I don't like about the device though. It does get quite warm under heavy usage, which is expected with NVMe SSDs I guess, but I do wish a faster Thunderbolt version was available. But even though it worked perfectly well, there were a few niggles, and that lack of security with inserted drives that just kind of flop around there, meaning constant care needs to be taken while in use, making me far too nervous to use this for critical data transfers. If used purely as a cloning device, the Orico Clone Duplicator works perfectly well in getting the job done, but as a general docking drive I'd much prefer the Sabrent Dual Thunderbolt 3 instead. It's tool-free, and it's built like a tank in comparison. Yes, it does cost more, but the drives are much more secure and data transfer is a ton faster too. And if you want that cloning feature, there's a Sabrent cloning drive available as well, again with a complete aluminum enclosure, keeping the drives securely inside, and featuring a completely standalone cloning feature without the need for a host computer. So, truth be told, when it comes to this Orico Clone Duplicator, the Sabrent variants, although a tad more expensive, do come out on top in every way.